What's going on, everybody? Your main man Zera here, coming to bring you yet another video. Actually, I just recorded this and I just realized that it was the music in the background was way too loud. So you know what, I just muted all the music and we're just gonna roll with it, and I will record it later. I'm chilling here next to my cousin right here. He be chilling, Rocky. He be doing his thing. We chilling here by the river, you know what I'm saying? We doing, or not a river, more like a pond, enjoying this nice ripple effect, and we chilling here in the class order hall. And as you can see by what I had pulled up just recently, we'll be talking about Guardian Druid Legendaries. Now, I have not quite gotten my Legendary yet. I've actually been picking up, I've gotten lucky. I picked up a couple of Mythic Titan, or excuse me, Heroic Titan Forge 850 items. Unfortunately for me, they have not been, let's see here, there's a Heroic Titan Forge there for 845. So unfortunately, these have not buffed my item level. It's still sitting at 847, but I mean, again, since I've done Mythics for the, all my Mythics for this week and last week, there's not really a whole lot I can do. So I'm farming Heroics, trying to get these Titan Forges to drop, but so far I'm not having a whole lot of luck. But the good news is that I've been helping people get geared, especially in my guild. Shout out to my boys in Sovereign and Tegan. They do an amazing job here on Darkspear, Storm Rage, Tichondrius, so many other servers. If you guys are not a part of this community, you need to be a part of Sovereign, because it offers so much in way of friendship, camaraderie, and community, and just all around just makes a great place to hang out and chill and play together and make memories. So I've been here now for over a year and I love it. And just, it's hard for me to say that about a guild, because for so long, since Vanilla back on Thunderlord and the Goat Clan died out, I've been kind of guildless until Warlords, and I ran into Tegan after making friends with Swifty, and things just hit off, and I've never regretted joining the Sovereign team. So I'm starting to become well known in circles as a good tank, and I want to make sure that I continue this trend. But what I really want to do is I want to help people out, and I hear a lot of chatter going on right now about legendaries and which ones are best. I didn't really talk about this because it wasn't really a thing on the beta until much later, after I had done the in-depth guide. So let's talk about legendaries for a minute. Now, there's 8 possible legendaries for a Guardian Druid in the loot table. You can actually wear other legendaries from other specs, but it doesn't really do you any good if you're Guardian spec anyway. So let's just talk about the ones that are designed for the Guardian Druid, okay? Starting with the neck. This is nice. The damage absorb is 15% of your maximum health, lasts for 30 seconds, and effect can only occur once every 30 seconds. This is really, really good for Mythics, Mythic Dungeons rather, because you can essentially have this shield up every single trash pool, which is amazing. It really gives the healer a chance to, if it's a druid, if it's a resto druid or a shaman, they can pre-hot you with Riptide or Rejubes or whatever. Or if it's a priest, you stack this shield on top of their, Power Word shield. That's also amazing. Or, other things like, say, it gives the resto druid time to put his mushroom down, or it gives the holy priest enough time to, put renews on you, and also, use a couple of normal heals before he has to start hitting with the flash heals. Or maybe he can get lucky and get Surge of Light procs, whatever. This can really help you at the start of every single trash pool. So this is kind of a quality of life thing for you and your healer. It doesn't really benefit the actual group as a whole, but this can really aid you and really help the healer in mitigating, incoming damage at the beginning of a fight. Now, this is not really at the top of the list. This is sort of middle of the pack as far as like where I'm going to rate it, but this does have its place. It's really great. So let's look at the wrist. So the wrist is going to increase the damage and radius to Thrash. I kind of feel like Blizzard missed the mark on this one. Now, I don't mind the damage increase. I actually like the damage increase, but the radius just seems a little meh. I mean, it already has a 8-yard range. So, I mean, making this 25%, basically just making it a 10-yard range, okay, that's not really a big deal. But now if you took, say, the balance affinity, making it, a 5-yard range, and which would make it 13 yards, which would make it 16-yard range, almost 17-yard range with this legendary, then you might have something. But again, balance affinity is useful. It's really useful. It's really awesome. I did a lot of testing. You guys have followed the channel. You've seen the footage. It's pretty freaking amazing with Galactic Guardian and Balance Affinity. You can just blow stuff up and you just crap popping up all over the screen. But again, in a high-end environment, mythics, you know, heroics and mythic raids and mythic plus challenge mode dungeons, you can't take Balance Affinity because you need to have your Zera's Gift for the healing. So this wrist is really weak in my opinion. It's one of the weaker ones. So I'm going to rate this down at the bottom. But it does, I mean, I would say if Blizzard could make one change to this, make it increase the damage of Thrash by 25%, but also reduce Thrash's cooldown by 25%. I mean, if you made this, you know, this 5-second cooldown down to like, you know, say 3.7, 3.8 seconds, then you might have something, you know what I mean? But as of right now, I don't think this wrist is really that strong. Now let's talk about one of the best ones. So the pants here is going to allow you to stack Thrash up to 2 additional times, which makes it 5 stacks instead of just 3. Now why I say that's the best here, and I apologize for cutting off half of the talents here, but the only thing we're going to be looking at is right here at the bottom. Now you run Pulverize in PvE right off the bat. Now a lot of people, I see a lot of druids running Rend and Tear. You got to remember, Rend and Tear is nice, but again, it's weaker than Pulverize as far as damage mitigation, because your job is not to do damage as a tank. Your job is to reduce damage taken. So this is only 6% damage reduction, and it's per target. It's not flat across the board. So if say an ad is outside the range when you first use Thrash, then guess what? This isn't going to work. But you have to wait for the cooldown to reapply it again, and then not only that, but it's also a build-up. There's a lot of ramp-up, and even when you get it maxed out on a target, well, guess what? It's only 6%. This is 8%, and this can last anywhere between 20 to 25 seconds. If you apply Pulverize back-to-back fast enough, you can make it last 25 seconds instead of just 20. It caps out at 25. It can't go above 25. But having 8% damage reduction, you could literally do this, and in 10 seconds, you got this damage reduction on top of everything else you have. Iron First, Mark of Ursals, you know, your baseline Thick Hide, reducing all damage you take by 10%. You stack this on top of it, and then you've got an 8% damage reduction at all times. So now you're thinking, okay, well, that's quite a bit. And it's flat. That's just baseline just for you. That's 8% less damage you're taking at all times, regardless of what it is, physical, magical, whatever. And the best thing about it is that what you can do is you can do that at the very beginning of a fight, and then say you've got a trash pool, right? And you wait to the last second, and you restack your Thrashes on the last target, and you time it right. Of course, you've been pulling trash mobs with this same DPS, so you kind of know when and where they're going to be, when and where to do this. As soon as the target is about to die, hit Pulverize, get that 20-second duration to hit to reset, and then immediately go into the next trash pool. Seriously, between all trash pools, Pulverize should never fall off. Should never, ever, 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 ever fall off. Which is why it is light years better than Rend and Tear. But if you were to take these pants, if you were to pick these pants up, then I would say Rend and Tear all the way. Because now you can have 5 stacks of this, making Rend and Tear's damage mitigation 2% better. It's 10% instead of 8% from Pulverize. And it also gives your damage increase a really nice buff. So if you have Brambles in conjunction with Rage of the Sleeper, and then you have Embrace of the Nightmare, which gives you 25% leech, if you stacked all that on top of Rend and Tear's damage, you would be doing a lot of self-healing while Rage of the Sleeper is active. So there's something to be said about that as well. So the pants are really, really nice. This is definitely one of your best 3 legendaries that you can have as a Guardian Druid. Now, Cephus's Secret, or Cephuse's Secret, I'm not sure how that's pronounced, but I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. This is, I don't want to say it's worthless, because it kind of does have some usages, but like, it'd be 1 in a million. You know what I'm saying? Like, almost never would you be able to use this effectively. Now, what this can be used for, this can be used for those times where you're trying to do challenge modes and you're just trying to blow through something. You're trying to pull half a room of mobs or half room of trash. You could use this. As a Guardian Druid, you could run up to a target, you could charge into a target, use Incapacitating Roar, everything's disoriented for 3 seconds, and then as you're running away with this 70% movement speed increase for 10 seconds, you could root those targets before they come out of the disorient. That way they don't attack your, all your buddies, your healer and your DPS, whatever. And you could use that 70% movement speed increase to pull everything in the room and then return back to where you were. So, I mean, this kind of has its place, but like, again, 1 in a million. I don't see any Guardian Druid, that has the option to where other legendaries is ever going to choose us over those. I just don't see it happening. All right, so let's go back to the top up here. Now, this is probably hands down the best option you can have as a Guardian Druid. If I picked up this chest piece, I'd lose my ever-loving mind, dude. I mean, the pants are great, but and there's another one on this list that's really great too, especially in PvP. I think it's probably the best one in PvP. I'm gonna go ahead and mention the boots, Sky 6 Hold. We'll get to it in a minute, but it's your best option for PvP. But this chest piece across the board, regardless if it's PvE or PvP, the chest piece is hands down the best, most beneficial legendary you can have as a Guardian Druid. Think about this for a minute. It increases the effectiveness of both Thick Hide and Ysera's Gift, the only two you're ever going to use, by 50%. So now you're talking about having, almost a 5% heal every 5 seconds from Ysera's Gift. And you're also talking about having a 15% damage reduction baseline against physical or magical attacks across the board. That is incredible, right? And then let's say if you had both this and the legs, then you stack Rend and Tear's 10% damage reduction, or if not even the legs, and just had Pulveriz's 8% damage reduction, that's 23 to 25% damage reduction at all times. Just without even using any active mitigators. That's incredible. That's a humongous damage reduction. And the Guardian Druid doesn't have to do anything. Doesn't have to do a thing. You start adding, 100 or 200, you start multiplying your armor by 100, 200% with a couple of stacks of Iron Fur, or, reducing all magical damage by another 30% on top of the 20 to 25% you're already going to have baseline. Man, now we're talking. So, to me, the chest is the obvious option. But again, we don't have a choice in the matter, at least not yet. There's rumors that Blizzard's going to implement, the option to limit the, legendaries that you could get. That way you can actually, better aim towards certain legendaries, but they're not just going to make it just one eye. You can't just say, oh, I want this to drop next. No, it's not going to work like that, at least not from what I've heard. But the rumor mill, the scuttlebutt around the forums is that Blizzard's going to allow us to kind of narrow it down. Like, I want to be able to pick up, on a random chance, I want it to be either the chest, the boots, or the legs. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. I think that's something that Blizzard's looking into doing, but they're obviously not going to implement that because there's no point, because this is such a new experience for players that they want people to experience it the way it was designed to experience it. Alright, so let's move on to the waist. This one, I don't understand this. I think this is one of those ones that's available to all Druid specs. So this is more geared towards your DPSers. This is something that you can have as a DPS spec that's going to really aid you at the beginning of a raid boss fight, especially when you go in and you blow heroism right off the bat, just go in, just blow everything you got. This could literally, this is designed to help you get ahead of the curve and get ahead of the timers and the enraged timers and everything, and just help you burst through the first 10% of the target's health. But honestly, as a tank, this is worthless. There's no point even having this. So we talked about the boots earlier. Frenzy of Generations heals you for an additional 12% of your maximum health every 3 seconds. This is your best option for PvP, because this heal is just enormous. Your Frenzy of Generation already heals you for a minimum of 5% of your maximum health, so now you're talking about 17% of your maximum health in the blink of an eye. You know what I'm saying? And it's a 20-second cooldown, so as long as you're fighting a single target, it almost makes you unkillable. Seriously. Literally would make you unkillable. So this is just amazing in World PvP. As far as PvE goes, though, this is probably my number 3 favorite. The chest would be number 1, the pants would be number 2, and the Sky 6 Hold feet would be number 3. I cannot, for the life of me, imagine that I would be lucky enough to get a combination of those 3, because if I did, God knows, I would own as a tank. Seriously, I would just... It would be hilarious to watch anything do any kind of damage to me. trash mobs would give me issues, sure, but actual raid bosses, it would be, Guardian Druids would be so, like a Guardian Druid tanking a raid boss would be so much smoother than most other tanks, I feel, if they had the chest piece and the legs. Because you're talking about almost, you know, baseline 25% damage mitigation right off the bat, just baseline, without having to do anything. No iron bark, no bark skin, no rage as a sleeper, no survival instincts, no iron fur, no mark of earth, so just 25% flat baseline. You know what I'm saying? That would just help the healers, make the healer's life so much easier. So, again, though, the boots, really awesome. Love the boots, especially PvP. It's #1 on PvP, and the chest would be #2 on PvP, but the chest is #1 in PvE. The legs are #2 in PvE, and the feet are #3. Now, as for the finger here, now dual determination, much like the neck, is middle of the pack, but it does have a great place. If you take this and you take the neck, mythic dungeon runs, and I dare even say mythic pluses, would be just amazingly easy if you had either one of these or even both of these equipped, if you have it unlocked in your order hall. Because taking survival of the fittest along with this would make survival instincts a 3 charges instead of 2, and a 2-minute and 12-second cooldown. Anywhere between 2 and 12 to 2 and 15. So essentially, every single major boss fight, you would have all 3 stacks of survival instincts. You'd have bark skin, obviously, for every single pool. And then between every pool, by the time you got to the next stage, you'd have the shield. That would make the healer's life so much easier, and it would make controlling the damage that's incoming, like, to the point to where you could almost guarantee that as the fight opens up, you're not taking any damage for the first 15 to 20 seconds. Because with all the damage mitigation you're going to have from bark skin and rage and sleep or so on and so forth, or whatever combination of defenses you decide to use, it'll take a while to get through that shield. You know what I'm saying? So, again, it has its place. I'm not going to say that it's going to be, you know, it's definitely not a great one. It's a good option, but it's not a great one. Just like the neck, it's good, it's not great. It's middle of the pack. The wrist and this ring right here are, you know, down at the bottom. These are your bottom tier ones, especially the waist. The waist is probably the worst, the absolute worst. I think this is like the bastard child of the lot. But the chest piece, the legs, and the boots, if you got a combination of these two for either PvP or PvE, you can consider yourself a godsend among all the Guardian Druids. If you've got a respectable item level and you've got a combination of these two of these 3 legendaries, you're gonna be set. So anyway, there you go, guys. That's it for me. That's it for tonight. Tomorrow we will go more in depth about what I'm actually currently using in dungeons and what I actually mix up depending on what class I'm running with, what spec healer I'm running with, so on and so forth. Because there are some times where I change things up. And it does get changed up on time or two depending on what bosses I'm going to be facing. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you tomorrow. And love you guys. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Tomorrow's Friday, so I'm only going to have one video again tomorrow night. And then it's the weekend, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. And then after that, I will see you on Monday. Love you guys. Hope you enjoy your weekend. See you then.